Okay, I'm going to just try and demonstrate the new features I've put into this Bees accounting program. So the first thing is we've got a login screen now, as you can see, and what that allows is just a user to log in. It gives some security in that any changes that you write to the database will be attributed to you, and you know that the only way that can be is it would be the case is if you logged in with your own password, so the password is as good as you set it. Although I haven't set a password at all for my Wi-Fi as yet, but I will do. That's hashed and stored in an XML file in the application folder. Here we go. So this is Bees Account Manager up and running, and I've loaded into it. All of these fields are stored in an SQLite database. So if I choose that supplier, I can, say that they've sent me an invoice and how much it's for. On top of that, because we've got the information in there, we can just send them an email automatically from the application that will just fire up, the mail to kind of web client stuff. And I've already put in the fields about where it wants as a return address and what it wants as a subject matter. I'm not going to save that, of course. You can visit the website if we've got a website stored into the database for that particular supplier. I'm using Epiphany as my default browser at the moment just because it's so nice and quick to fire up. So there we go. We edit the supplier. That's just a standard kind of form that comes up. We can put in the account numbers for them, which is the next feature I've got to work on, or we could delete a supplier. That won't work because I haven't selected a new supplier. The other thing I can do, so what I'm working on at the moment, is actually write them a letter. So there we go, compose a letter to Claudius Ash, one of our suppliers. And what I've done there is I've started sort of using a docx template. So a docx file format is basically XML. In this you kind of XML your fonts and your settings and various things, and then you put it into folders in a certain format and zip it and then rename it to docx. So that's what that does in the background, and then opens it up. I've just got to kind of just finalize that. Okay, the other feature is you can save the database, which obviously you want to do. With it being a single file, that database structure of SQLite, it's really good just to be able to save it as a backup. Tiny files, tiny binary file as well. There it is. Their default database is 20k. That's not bad for that amount of information. And I'm probably going to make it so that it maybe takes a backup of that file at every startup and gives you the opportunity to roll back. Now, to get those suppliers into there, my wife had them on her Windows computer, so and in a Lotus 123 application of all things. So I just built in a functionality to import from CSV, and it can also export to CSV. Okay, so that's that. I've shown you more or less what that's done. Look at all that chuff that gets thrown up now when you try and open any GTK apps via the terminal. That was using XDG utils, the subprocess popen, etc. Just asking for the standard applications. Here I am. This is the code base, and you can see that I'm using my old favourite Stanley's Python editor. And the reason I use an editor like that is not just because of the kind of formatting and highlighting you get, but some of the functionality they have at the bottom there. You see that find panel. That find in files looks right throughout the whole folder of the code that I've written for this. So it looks at all my modules at once. So if I've got a variable name or if I've got a recurring error, I did some regex there to look for a Python 2.6ism that I've used, which is using the except as terminology, which is broken in 2.5, which is what my wife's computer is running. So I just had to go and search for those, roll them back, and do a new bizarre push. Okay, there we go. Thank you very much.